Hello, my fellow SPSers. It is 2 o'clock Tuesday, and we are here on Talking Tuesday in regards to guilt. And the reason I chose guilt is because it has been something that I have struggled with pretty much almost my whole life. And it just seems to get worse, of course, having SPS for many various reasons. But I wanted to start out with the quote that I posted, and it says, "Guilt does not change the past. Guilt does not make the future better. Guilt does not help others or ourselves. Guilt does not fix problems. Guilt blinds us from the ability to change, grow, and improve. It's time to let go of guilt." And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to work through the guilt. I started with what's called, I've uploaded these documents as well. You'll find them under the files section under our support group. But I'm starting with the emotional sensation wheel, which some of you may be familiar with in order to address this issue and do these rounds. So, are you feeling guilty? How do you address it, challenge, and work through your guilt? I'm looking for feedback. I'm also, like I said, working through my own guilt. This hair is driving me crazy. The bang is too long. It keeps falling in my face. Sorry, getting distracted. So in my notes that I decided to write down with the guilt here, and if you want to be added, it says bring them on video once you start watching. If that's the case, let me know, and then I can bring you into the video so we can have discussions together. So I see that Sharon is watching. If you would like to, just let me know and I can bring you into the video. So according to the emotional sensation wheel, guilt falls under sad. Sad definitely is something that I can say that I feel. Guilt, and what else falls under sadness are the following: guilt, abandoned, despair, depressed, lonely, and apathetic. And the three that I feel like I most relate to at this moment are guilt, abandoned, and depressed. So if you happen to download or look at that wheel, you can work through, or we can discuss further what you may be feeling under those sad feelings that the guilt falls under. Those are the, sadness is the feeling, guilt is the emotional, I think, symptoms. And then you have the physical symptoms. So as I go through the wheel, it shows you what each one is, and then it gives you all the categories that fall under each of those. So for me, my physical symptoms is slouching, which I think that's most normal human beings. But when I do it, I try to think of obviously opening myself up, crying, which every day has kind of been different. My emotions are on a roller coaster right now, as you may know if you've been watching and reading what I post, what I don't post. I've kind of been up and down in my emotions. My body aches, of course. Those are physical symptoms that come in addition to SPS, as well as, like I said, in the feelingness of sad, combined with the guilt and the abandonment and depression. Tiredness, we know, because I've been talking about how fatigued that I have been lately. And let's see what else. So body aches, tiredness, slow, heaviness, and weak are my physical symptoms that fall in this category under sad, where guilt lies. And let me flip this page here. My emotional symptoms, I kind of went through and I wrote down guilt, and I put lack of discipline. One of my strongest guilts is my lack of discipline. When I was able to work, I get up every morning, I shower, do my hair, do my makeup, go take care of business, go to work. I loved my job. I was in customer service. I was in most of my life, basically, and I loved people and I loved helping people. And I also was building my real estate business part-time. So that was disciplined. But once I became disabled, I lost that discipline, and my days just kind of fall one into another. And I'm trying really hard to change that. Another thing for my emotional symptoms under guilt is my lack and ability of being able to help within my limitations. Once being so independent, and then that's taken away from you, and you just feel, I don't want to say less than. At some point, I think in the beginning you do, but it's been a number of years, but I still struggle with my limitations, especially watching how let's say, for example, my caretakers are my husband and my brother, and how hard they work to take care of me. And I know for the caretakers, it is very hard to watch those that you love struggle the way they do, because you knew them once as they were, just as we knew ourselves once as we were. So I struggle with that. As far as another emotional symptoms I discussed was abandonment. I feel abandoned in some sense, only in the sense that I feel like I know I'm loved, but I feel like I'm abandoned in the sense that those I know that love me aren't contributing to the future of trying to help understand and promote and bring awareness and research to address the causes, the treatments and possible cures for our SPS. So that's kind of how I feel abandoned by, unfortunately, family and friends. Again, I'm working on it. I know everybody is going through their issues. I know financially people can't afford things, but even when I could only donate $11, but I had it and I did it. And it's just as small as that. And when you can't do that, you kind of personalize it. And I know that's on me. And I'm working through that, which is another reason why I'm doing this video. In hopes that both, like I said, bringing awareness to it and having conversations with others who may struggle in these areas, as well as other areas of guilt. We could have a back and forth conversation that could be beneficial individually and as a whole within our group. So for those that are watching, if you would like me to bring you into the video again, there is a little button I can press. Just let me know, and I'll be happy to press those buttons and bring you into the video. Next on my emotional symptoms list is depressed. We know I'm depressed. I have been in bed for days. I hadn't showered until today. It had been since last Tuesday. You're talking like 7 days. 7 days. That's a severe depression. And most of that was, I have to say, based on my sadness and my guilt being trapped in it, telling myself in my head, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. And then because it's not getting done, I feel inadequate, I feel limited, I feel stuck. And then I just kind of almost shut down and get lost within those stinking thinking modes. My physical symptoms, again, these are also on the chart. My physical symptoms, slouching, very common for most people, but it happens to be a physical symptom. Crying. Oh, I think I already went over these, didn't I? Yes, see, so I'm redoing that. I don't understand, but crying, it's very emotional, but it is also very healing. So it's kind of been a combination for me from both aspects. And as far as the tiredness, I've had extreme fatigue, which I have already talked about. And slow heaviness and weak is that lack of energy that comes with the depression. Are any of you going through this? Are any of you experiencing any of these symptoms? Again, you know, it's like, how are you addressing it? How are you challenging it? How are you working through it? Hi. I'm doing my best to try to be as helpful as possible. So please bear with me. Let's see. Then within that, there is the gentle to-do list. Again, these are all in the file on our support group under files. It's called self-care. You'll find it all there, plus the link that I posted for this event. So my gentle to-do list, I showered, like I said, today, because I knew I was going to do this, and I stunk so bad. 7 days. What's the longest you went without a shower? I think that did it. Usually I'm 4, 5, 7. That was a long time. Mindful. My gentle to-do list is being mindful. Sensory feeling and addressing, which is what I'm trying to do through the process of this paperwork and having this conversation in our support group. Being mindful of where those thoughts come from. Where do they generate from? How do I address it? How do I challenge it? How do I change it? Reaching out, which is what I'm doing here. I'm reaching out by doing the live Facebook, addressing the issues at hand. And as far as the final thing that I wrote down for my gentle to-do list is, it says do one thing. So my one thing today, well, I did a couple things, but was to make sure I was prepped for this in hopes that I guess I'm stuck with words. We know how that is. So, but anyhow, as I say, you'll only get that here. Some people think it's funny, some people won't, but it's something I say often. But my one thing I wanted to make sure is that I uploaded documents that were important on our support group, both from the self-care forms that I have, as well as any other documents that people think are beneficial as far as SPS goes in their education aspect. Coping skills. This is the next thing. So we've got coping skills. which I also uploaded. There is a list of coping skills, and there's a total of 78 of them. Again, they are listed in the files under self-care. So mine to do were goals of self-care, coping skills, inspire self. Instead of putting myself through the mental beat up, it's easy for me to inspire others. I can do that till the end of time and more. But to inspire myself, I try to do that through creativity and self-nurturing. Right now, that is through digital creating. As I struggle with writing, I used to journal, and my writing has gotten pretty bad, especially the more I write. So I do a lot of that, and I used to play guitar. I'm scared. I really want to try it again. I want to make a promise to myself and be accountable to try to play my guitar 5 minutes a day to see how I do. I'm very scared, and I'm scared to make the promise and the commitment, because then if I don't do it, then I'll be mad at myself, and then I'll feel guilty, and the cycle starts all over again. Persist. Self-challenge, coping skill, goals, persistence, never give up. That is something that you will find in me. Even on my down days, when all is in despair, my whole life has been traumatic. I have PTSD. I would honestly say CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder, as I've struggled with it my entire life. So I find that is very important. Persistence, never giving up, crying like I stated before, allowing myself to cry. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I think it's weak. But like my therapist explained to me when I was going, is that crying is healing. It's not about weakness. It's about healing. And it's true, because when you have a really good cry, it's almost like a weight has been lifted. And it is very healing, unless you have a migraine, which I often have. So that's another reason I try to push away the tears, because once you have a migraine and you cry, it's not a good combination. It's just not a good combination at all. It just makes my symptoms flare up even more. So next on the list, as far as my goals of coping skills, is to have compassion for myself. I have compassion for others and what they go through. I feel it. But to have compassion for myself where I'm at, it's very hard. It's a very hard thing to do. But I'm working on it. Next on the list of goals is to identify. Identify means moment when feeling this way. So when the stinking thinking of the guilt sets in, what's triggering it? Let's identify in that moment why I'm feeling this way, what's taking place, so that it can be addressed properly. And that's why it's a goal. I'm not there yet, but that is why it's a goal. Seeking understanding. Listen to behaviors. That falls under trying to identify that moment when you're feeling this way and you're seeking that understanding. That's where I am. Trying to It's time to let go of the guilt. It's time to let go of the guilt. That's what I keep telling myself. Healing. I have this asterisk and underlined to focus on what matters. So at the time that I'm lost in my guilt and feeling incompetent and like an invalid, no independence, to focus on what matters. And what matters is you. You matter. Communicating with you, building the relationships that I have with you, focusing on my relationships with my caretakers, my husband and my siblings, focusing on my greatest gifts, which is my son and my granddaughters and all their love, even though they live in another state, as well as my other friends that most of them I've known since I was a child. Structured day, set schedule. This is where I severely fall short and I feel so much guilt. I grew up where there was no structured day other than you go to work. You go to work. And I lived and grew up in Southwest Detroit and Cochran and Ash right on the corner there, and there was Dugan's Bar, and that's where a lot of people spent their time. They worked and then they went to the bar. There was no motivation in life to strive for more. There was no structure outside of, okay, what needed to be done, and that was it. And I feel like that's where one of my shortcomings and struggles come from, is how I grew up. And being disciplined for myself and setting those schedules, just like as if I were working for an employer. It's very important to set ourselves as a priority. And remember, what we say to others is what we need to hear. So please note that as I'm talking, I'm speaking to myself as well. And this is one of the big things that I get angry about with myself and feel very, very guilty, is not being able to be disciplined, to set that structured schedule, or to set that schedule for a structured day. Although I know some days I can still have the set schedule, it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to get all done or in the way and the time. Things change, they fluctuate, I understand that. But to have nothing and wake up with, oh, I'm not doing this today, I'm not doing anything today. What are you doing today? Oh, nothing. Why? Oh, I don't know. I'm tired of the answer of I don't know. And that's on me. That's on me. But this is something that I really, really struggle with and carry a lot of guilt over. Take a deep breath. Center yourself. Again, at least I think you're still watching. If you decide you want to come into the video, let me know. I can say, bring them in video, and you'll be part of the conversation. Notice the cost. Notice the cost of the consequences of the mindset that you're in and what it's costing you, the consequences of what it's costing you. It costs me to be angry. It costs me to stay locked up in bed and not shower for 7 days. It costs me on times or at times to isolate, to not be nice to my caretakers. Sometimes I'm passive aggressive. I'm not really a mean person, but I can be passive aggressive, or I could definitely give that Detroit girl attitude. Believe it or not. Don't get it twisted. But then when I noticed the cost and I realized that I'm at fault, I will separate and isolate myself to work through it. And it could be hours and it could be days. To integrate the split self, I found that interesting. I was like, well, what is to integrate the split self? And it's to accept, trying to read my writing here. Like I told you, it's gotten real sloppy, just like my spelling is challenging, my writing is challenging. Accept all sides of yourself. Well, I don't know about any of you. Are you there? Have you accepted all sides of yourself? Some days you may, some days you may not. Some may not be accepted at an accepted level at all. And this is another one that I struggle with guilt, not accepting myself in the now when that stinking thinking, it just hits so hard. So integrate the split self it's important. It understanding it, accepting all sides of self. That means taking care of yourself, allowing yourself to feel what you feel, as we've heard a million times, but it is not an easy situation, because when you are not feeling good, both physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, it's hard to be in it and not want to just do whatever you can to get out of it. But to sit in it and breathe through it, it is a lot harder than it appears. And I know many people have said, they do that and it took them a while to get to a certain level in doing that. But again, this falls in the discipline and setting a schedule, which you already know. Identify the belief, the should nots, the reasonings. Identify the belief. Is it real? Is this guilt that I feel real? Is it real? Or is it just something that I've carried my whole life? And it's like, a security blanket, a protection mechanism, PTSD. I want to change and challenge that mindset so much. I want to identify the belief and the reasoning of no longer allowing guilt to define who I am. Tolerate the feeling. We just talked about this. It's about, and getting through it. I say, "Ugh!" We all know how hard it is to get through it, to tolerate the feeling. Who wants to tolerate the feeling? Who? We have no choice. We have no choice. We do tolerate it. We don't like it. We don't like it, but we don't have a choice in it. So should that be a coping skill goal? Learning how to tolerate the feeling in a more positive mindset is the goal. Getting through it, we will. We will together. And that's why the support groups and you, each of you help me tolerate the feeling to get through it. So thank you. Thank you. Fight the trigger. Fight the trigger. That's a coping skill. And it's a goal of mine, is to fight the trigger. And I see that a lot of these fall, and the last one is notice the source, which is my mind, the PTSD, the past, the limitations of knowing how once I used to be so alive and so happy, and you know, I love people. I loved working. I mean, most of the time, except for over the road trucking in the winter or going through small spaces. Those always kind of like, oh, no, 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 no. But overall, notice the source too. And that's the important part, is noticing the source, fighting the trigger, tolerate the feeling, identify the belief, integrate the split self, notice the cost, and healing. Those are the ones that I have asterisked, and they are all under the coping skills, again, that I have posted that can help you when you are working with your emotional sensation wheel. Okay. So if you, again, I'm going to keep saying it because talking to oneself, even though I know you're there, one-sided it could be challenging because you're not sure. Again, I'm putting too much emphasis on what others are, you know, thinking, and I need to let that go and just be who I am in hopes that it's helping you as well as it's helping me. So in this journey of mine, of guilt, and trying to work through it and share it with you, the last thing is the defense mechanisms. But I'm going to get into that in a couple of minutes because I've got some messages coming through that I just want to acknowledge. First, I'd like to thank everyone that has stepped in and taken a moment or has continued to watch this live video. So let's see. Yes, thank you, McKenna. I'm glad to hear that we help you tolerate the feelings as well. And that means a lot. And that is something that does bring healing to me, is helping others. Helping myself is the next process in my healing and letting this guilt go. So, and my baby, Carmela, hey sis, happy holidays. You're so funny. This inside joke. Oh my God, you're too funny. The girls say hi back, honey, and they ain't no jumping because I'm in my 50s and we know what happens, right? Do they hang low, wobble to and fro? So they ain't perks anymore. Like yours, Miss Perk. I'm going to call you Miss Perks. Okay, so a little bit of laughter there. That's always good to have. So then, in addition to today's live, is called defense mechanisms. This is the only one of the things that I got when I was in a somatization therapy group. I might have more, but I have to look around that office. You don't even want to know. It's so overwhelming. But the somatization therapy group, because of course somatization was something that I was diagnosed with before SPS, which I think falls under the F&D category. However, I did decide to go through and explain my defense mechanisms going through this. And the first one, there's 4 of them listed here. It says uncovering defense mechanisms, and there are 4 of them listed. I happen to be Number 2, which is immature defenses. When we threaten others and realities, such as projection, acting out, and passive aggression, to reduce anxiety and distress. And that's what I do. I am short, snappy, moody, but then I'll separate myself because I know that it's me in my mood, and I cannot handle conflict because I grew up in a lot of conflict in life, domestic violence, seeing a lot of, abuse, experiencing abuse from every aspect. So I try to avoid conflict altogether. But I will, like I said, I will get snappy. I will get short-tempered due to my frustrations and my defense mechanisms of being sad caused by guilt or depression, despair, abandonment, loneliness, apathy, all those things that fall under that category. The other one that I felt that I most related to at this time was number 3 on this list, which is called neurotic defenses. And this is when we keep associated feelings of fear and suppress ideas outside of our awareness, such as repression, displacement, and isolation. And definitely, lots of feelings of fears. And I suppress a lot of deeper issues that I feel because they're not comfortable. Again, they're not comfortable to identify, to seek understanding, to tolerate the feeling. So I suppress them. And in life, I also suppressed a lot of my emotions and my memories because of all the trauma that I went through. So I'm one of those really sad ones when I hear people and I'm around friends and family from generations that hear and that talk about stories. I feel lost sometimes because I have lost a lot of memories. I've put them so far back due to the trauma that I definitely fall in the category of suppression and repression, and I isolate. I definitely self-isolate. I've mentioned that before. Do any of you have any of these? Do you share in this? What is the strongest thing that you feel guilty about, that you struggle with, that you fight with, that you work your hardest to work through, but it doesn't seem to be letting go or getting through? Again, I just wanted to have conversations and let you know what my guilt is, and my guilt is not getting shit done, feeling sorry for myself. Why feel sorry for myself? I'm still capable of doing things. I'm still capable of making a difference. I'm still capable of helping others. It may be in different ways. And it's not even a matter about the others. It's just about, I know my self-worth, and I do have self-love, but obviously it's not altruistic self-love because I carry a lot of guilt, and I say I'm sorry a lot. And those are 2 things I know that my therapist would challenge me on. And even my husband, he'll say, why are you always saying you're sorry? You know, and I'm just like, I don't know. It's just what I do. But again, I think it stems back from my childhood and my history of living the way that I lived and I grew up. Let's see. Yes, inside joke, because the girls are all comfy. I see. LOL, love you and glad I can make you smile and laugh. Yes, you do. And I miss you. I miss you. I love you so much. I love you so much. And you are in my heart. Carmela Bella, you are. And so is everyone else that takes the time or that is currently on. I know I'm just rambling. And I can't really think of anything else other than just to wish you all a wonderful day. And I hope this helps. I hope me talking about my process and working through my stages of guilt, which falls under the category of sadness, which I will say, yeah, I'm sad. I'm sad. I'm sad. I'm sad and angry. And anger will be the next issue. Anger is going to be the next issue when we do our talking days. But at this point, I'm going to go ahead and sign off because I know it's been almost an hour and people have come and gone, but it's all good. So anyway, my fellow SPSers, I just want you how important is, I have to go now. I'm reading, sorry, I can't read it more. Okay, I'm about to go too, honey, so I hope to have more. Well, this is something I do believe I will be doing more in hopes to help myself just as much as I desire to help all of you. I want that same desire to help myself, and that's my goal. So I will leave you with this. Guilt does not change the past. Guilt does not make the future better. Guilt does not help others or ourselves. Guilt does not fix problems. Guilt blinds us from the ability to change, grow, and improve. And honestly, I would say guilt binds us, not just blinds us, but binds us from the ability to change, grow, and improve. And that's where I'm at, right there. It's binding me. It's time to let go of guilt. Self-acceptance, self-love, self-care, self-awareness. It all matters. And be kind to yourself. I'm saying it, and I need to hear it. So again, it's not just for you, it's for me. I love you all. We're going to continue to hopefully grow together through our groups and strengthen each other and encourage each other through our stinking thinking. That's what I like to call it, stinking thinking, because that's what it is. And it's been a minute. It's been a minute. I did do myself up today. Like I said, I did it for my husband so he could come home and see me and, you know, because I know I stunk. After 7 days, I know I stunk. Girl, oh my God. I'm so glad my sense of smell is not that good because I was probably ratchet. That's all I'm going to say. But I am, you know, all prettied up today. Like I said, I did it for my husband. But my brother, he said, you have to do it for you. You have to do it for you. I don't know how to do anything for me. I've lived my whole life doing things for everybody else, that I don't know how to do things for myself. Even though I have self-worth and self-love, it sounds like an oxymoron. How is that even possible? If you have any suggestions, if you have a technique that you use, a motto, a meme, anything, I'm open. I'm open to the suggestion. So again, remember, I have uploaded all these documents. You will find them in, it's called Self-Care. They're all kind of together, but they are all there. And I hope that this has been helpful for you. It has been helpful for me because it helps me to seek understanding and listen to my behaviors, discussing them, noticing the cost, identifying the belief, integrating the split self, which to me is really the most important, which is accepting all sides of yourself, all sides of yourself. And I find that to be one of the hardest things. But I hope that this is helpful. This has helped you. And of course, if you rewatch it because you missed the live, if you have any comments or any suggestions, again, on how you address, challenge, and work through your guilt. Also looking for input on topics that you may be interested to talk about as well. It's not just about me, it's about all of us and what we're experiencing and what we're going through. And for me, that right now, the biggest thing is the guilt / sadness. So if there's something that you have been struggling with and decide, hey, Shannon, is it possible that we can talk about this? I'd be more than happy to do that. I would definitely do that. So we all learn and grow. We all learn and grow by taking baby steps. And doing these live feeds is baby steps to my growth. And hopefully my baby steps will become bigger steps and encourage those who have not stepped into baby steps, into adult steps. Now I'm just going on and on. I don't even know what the hell I'm saying. Sorry. My bad. All right, signing off. It's time to let go of the guilt. It's time to let go of the guilt. It's time to let go of the guilt. All right, I love you all. I really, really do. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for supporting all of us. Thank you for being family in the support group. And I love you. I love you, and I hope that you're doing well and having a good day. All right. I will talk with you soon. All right. Bye-bye. I can never know. Girl, let me tell you, I keep saying I'm going to hang up. One more thing, I promise. I send all these kisses. But if you knew me like in person, anybody that knows me, they can tell you that I'm a hugger, and my hugs, they say, are some of the best hugs. And let me tell you, I can't physically hug you, but I am hugging you with all the soul, love, and compassion that I am. I love you. Have a good day. Bye. Oh, thank you for watching. Thank you, and see you next time. All right.